Sir Gordon came to Kensington. We spoke. I said with the unrest and violence that has spread across the country, we should not be stoking it with these provocative, militaristic shows.
And what said he?
That it was not a show, and he swore he had, in consultation here with you, agreed. It was important that the palace is defended from attacks within the crowd.
Exactly. You should not have questioned it.
But having heard his answer, I went on that in an hour I would head towards the palace in a car. Same I drove that sunny day I married my fair wife. Escorted by police, I'll drive straight down the mall and enter through the guarded gates. I then intend to go around the yard, and if, I said, there is a tank, I'll ask my men in blue that they do move it off, because it is a danger having such a deadly weapon aimed towards the crowd. Sir Gordon stared. He stopped and thought. And then he asked if I was serious. Would I incite a clash between the troops who all held guns and the unarmed police? I stared at him, just as I stare at you, and said I'm looking forward to my drive. And when as promised I drove down the mall, police on either side, expecting that the crowd would see me and attack the car. Instead, they saw who steered and parted there to let us through, and as we went between, the mob, a silence fell upon them. It was most strange. They stopped and watched us go. There was no tank or military might, and just 2 guards stood to attention there. And as the gates began to close, one girl called out, "You tell him, Will." So I must.
Must tell me what?
You can't go back from your decision now.
Agreed. Retreating now would be the end.
And yet you can't progress. The Parliament will never hold elections as you wish.
We'll see.
So I propose on Coronation Day we have 2 thrones upon the dais placed, and sat on cushions next to them are 2 crowns, awaiting royal heads to rest.
2 thrones, 2 crowns. It is not possible for Britain and the Commonwealth to have, as you suggest, 2 kings in tandem rule.
No, not 2 kings. A king. And queen.
You mean Camilla? After we have discussed...
No, Camilla, no.
Then what do you intend? Because if it's what I think, then you must speak the words of treachery yourself and shank your father with a full and clear betrayal.
I mean myself and Kate are crowned instead.
And what of me? I simply stand aside.
You offer abdication and explain since taking on the role, you felt your age.
There's something in your face I recognize. A stern expression, reckless and so bold. It was Diana when I saw it last, and I had hoped that it had died with her. But here it is in you. Ambition lurks.
I'm proud of that ambition, proud of her, who plucked so young before she knew the world and thrust into a den of lions keen for meat, was given no protection, and when you decided to make return to one you always loved, you threw my mum aside, discarded and destroyed her by repute.
I loved your mother at the time and did my very best to make sure you weren't harmed.
And that will be your tombstone. Did my best. At least I tried. A plea for effort rather than effect. That's you as husband, you as son, as father too, and now as king. But all our sympathy is withered up and dry. This is a job. You should have got it right, and you did not.
Careful what you say. You've always had my unconditional and total love. I said whatever thing you did, my love would never end, but with those words, my mind has changed. I think that I could wash my hands of you and not look back.
Unneeded and romantic gestures seem to be your fault. You needn't let go of me. There doesn't have to be this constant turbulence you've brought. I will, as king, return to what your mother did. Stability and certainty above all else.
I will not abdicate. Ungrateful boy. I'll never give away the crown. For me, it's duty and my calling. Things to do. I know. Don't ask me how. That I will be the greatest king of all.
greatest king. And so you shall. For when they write the history books about this, they will tell stories, crisis-like, about the stormy days after the Queen had died, and how for weeks you contemplated hard upon the right and proper thing to do, and in the end decided for the good of all your people and their long-term happiness, you'd selflessly stand down and pass it on to younger hands, more popular and with more time to reign. This move will then be seen today, and evermore, as when the crown did save itself, and through a clever choice, an idea of the greatest king we had, renewed the brand to last another century.